Yep.
Record.
And go live.
Live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome from Studio A in Texas, USA. It's the award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. On today's 2-hour extravaganza, we talk about EVs.
Extravaganza.
Extravaganza. Yeah, EVs today. It's electric vehicle show. God help us all. They're coming, like it or not, and it's time for us to delve into all of it. We got guests, if we can get them on with us, and we're going to talk about it whether you like it or not. And I have to tell you that I'm going to go clawing my way through this. All right. Inside our new car showroom, the BMW X6 and the Ram 2500 Power Wagon. We'll give you in-depth reviews of each. We've got this week's automotive news, tons of guests, Conrad's Car Clinic, Today in Automotive History, news headlines, all of that in today's 2-hour In-Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, August 1st, 2020. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, it's working on technical issues back off
camera.
off the stage here, yeah. Along with King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us today. And like I said, we're going to talk about EVs. You know, I haven't had a lot of luck with EVs.
No, you've struggled a little bit, and I'm not real sure why.
Well, I do know why. I think part of the problem is that this house that I'm living in is not set up as an EV charging station.
Because it doesn't have enough power coming into it.
Well, it does have enough power coming into the house. The problem is that I don't have the setup for that.
Oh, well, yeah, you don't have the 220 power charging station.
I don't have the 220 power. And when I did take either one of the EVs that I had here in the past year to a charging station, they wouldn't accept the charge that was coming out of the 440 plug. At least one of them.
That's weird.
It was weird. But I didn't also have the card that you put up to the card reader.
That allowed you to power.
So I had to call the company, EVgo, and say, here's the card. No, oh, yes, we see the card number. Go ahead and unplug it. Go ahead and plug it back in, lock the door, turn off the car, blah, blah, blah,
it's
blah,
kind of
blah.
like what we're going through here to get Zoom up.
No, it's not kind of like that. It's exactly like that. So at any rate, I had problems. And then when I plugged the car in here in the 110 outlet, it has a little readout that's on the dashboard that says how many hours to a full charge at 110 going into it.
Oh, gosh, but at 110.
It took days.
Oh, yeah.
I never got there.
Well, that's why when you see these charging stations that are starting to pop up around town, Whole Foods being one of them, out at the airport being another, typically if it's set up as a charging station, they come in with 440. You can bring 220 into your house as a charging station,
right.
But that power hit charge is really going to come out of a 440 volt charging station.
Right. And most of the cars will take that 440 charge to a full charge on the car in about 30 minutes or so.
Right.
And so,
more than 30 minutes, but in a substantially less time.
It depends on the type of battery, from what I've read, the type of battery, and the make and model of the car, and is it a new EV? Well, chances are it'll take about 30 minutes with the new tech batteries and that sort of stuff. Let's get into all of that. So do we have Buzz on Zoom now? We do?
I'm on Zoom.
Oh, Buzz?
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can see you as well.
Excellent.
So all this work in the background by Mars worked.
And let's not forget Jeff Zekin, too.
And the Jeff Zekin.
So joining us is Richard Buzz Smith, the EVangelist. And where are you talking to us from, Buzz?
I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, up in my upstairs studio.
Well, very nice. Well, we sure appreciate you joining us on this rainy Saturday here in the Houston, Texas area. So I guess I kind of gave a little bit of an overview of some of the problems that I've had. But, 30 minutes, let's just break it down and talk to what we were just talking about. 30 minutes on a charge. New EVs with a 440 or a big high voltage plug-in like you would have at Whole Foods, that's about 30 minutes, right?
30 minutes usually is a 80% charge on the new batteries. They'll start slowing down in order to be gentle to the battery as they get above about 80%. But one thing that I tell, I used to sell cars for a living. I changed careers because the EV changed my life. But I tell my customers, try the 110. Chances are you won't need anything more. Now, you're trying to fill up a battery that was almost empty. So, yeah, that could take a long time. But in the real world, the average American drives less than 40 miles a day. So on a 110 outlet, just like charging your smartphone, you can fill that battery up while you sleep. You get home, you plug it in, you walk in the house, you forget about it. Next morning, you come out, battery's full. Now, for a long trip, you're going to need DC fast charging. Now, there's 3 levels of charging with cars. You mentioned the 110, that's called level 1.
Yep.
And you're going to get between 4 and 8 miles of range per hour that you're plugged in, depending on the amperage of the circuit. The 220 that you were talking about, and those come in 30 amp, 40 amp, and 50 amp flavors, you're typically going to drop in about 25 miles per hour that you're plugged in, or up to 40 or 50, depending on the amperage.
That would be like plugging it into the dryer outlet.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
All right.
And then the next step up, and you won't have this in your home because it uses more amperage than your entire house does, is those 440 chargers. DC fast charging is what it's called. And instead of AC having to be converted to DC to be stored in the battery, it is shoving DC energy into that battery. And those are, you're going to spend a minimum of $14,000 to have one. Now, for businesses that are thinking about installing one, the federal government has a tax credit for them up to $30,000. So a lot of businesses can install these to attract customers. You'll find that EV buyers, at least in the beginning, were higher income because they were buying things like Teslas. Nowadays, you're finding that even the Chevy Bolt this month, they have them $11,000 off. And so you can buy one of those. And after the state and federal income tax credits, you're down around a $26,000 car that needs no maintenance and no fuel at all.
Now, do you find that the Whole Foods, the airport, are they at 220 or are they at 440?
Typically, the Whole Foods will be 220, and a lot of times those are getting offered up for free. The cost of the 440 chargers are so high that those are going to be pay stations.
Which would be like the EV.
You'll only use those when you're traveling between cities, or if you're an apartment dweller, let's say, and can't charge at home or at work, you might need to quickly get a charge. Then you would go pay for the electricity.
What would it typically take on a charge financially to charge at a 440 station for 30 minutes and get 80% charge? What would it typically cost you? I understand the cost of electricity varies, but generally speaking, what would that cost you on your credit card?
What I'm seeing in Texas, it's at about $6 to get to 80% of a charge.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So $6 to go probably 200 miles at the most.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all. I mean, you got to think $6 is going to be 3 gallons of gas today, and 3 gallons of gas with your best fuel economy vehicle is going to be less than 100 miles.
Right. So, but we're talking also, but we're talking about $6 of gas.
Right.
So they're actually comparable in that genre. If you want to put those two things together, am I correct?
Yeah.
So
it's a lot less expensive than gasoline, and when you're charging at home in Texas, it's real easy to get 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And so if you're driving 12,000 miles a year, you're going to spend about $30 a month on electricity when you're charging at home. And so that's the dollar equivalent of 80 to 100 miles per gallon.
What is the payback on a typical, if there is such a thing, average price of an EV? So you go, let's use $50,000. Is $50,000 probably about average, or 40? Give me a number.
Well, there's kind of a gap in that range. You know, when you're looking at the more affordable ones, and those are the Kias, the Hyundais, the Chevys, you're looking at high 30s to mid 40s.
Right. The one that both of the ones that I drove the Kia and the Chevy, and they were both right at about $40,000.
Yeah. So remember, there's not in the case of Chevy because they've sold too many of them, but the federal income tax credit is $7,500. The Texas state rebate's $2,500. So that's 10 grand off right there. So now you've taken that $40,000 car and you've made it a $30,000 car that you will never have to put gasoline in. So the payoff is instantaneous. A lot of people think you've got to own it for years, but that's not the case.
But there is also the maintenance part of it. And when it comes to an EV, the maintenance part is the battery life. So from what I've read, battery life at the most is about 10 years if you treat it right. Am I correct?
Oh, no. We've already seen one guy go over 470,000 miles on his original battery pack with no measurable degradation. So today's modern lithium-ion batteries will outlast the car, and the battery is still usable at that point. I've seen them use them for solar panel backup in their homes. GM uses them to power their data center if the main line power goes out. So battery backup for an entire data center. So the batteries today will way outlast the car. Now they're warranted for 8 to 10 years, depending on manufacturer, and 100,000 miles. So if anything goes wrong, and that's not just the battery, that's the electric drivetrain, that's the charging system, that's everything, is warranted for typically 8 years, 100,000 miles. And most people today don't keep a car 8 years. So it's going to last beyond the time that you'll own the car. And that warranty is transferable to the next owner.
So let's go back to the payback aspect of it. So I pay, let's just say $20,000 for a stripped, bare naked car that's brand new.
After discounts, after rebates, after federal incentives.
$20,000 for that car. And I travel, let's just say 20,000 miles a year. And if I do the same thing in a electric vehicle as opposed to a gasoline vehicle, what are my savings?
You're typically going to be right at break even. I did I've got a spreadsheet that calculates this for people, but I compared a $24,000 Chevy Trax to a $40,000 or $39,000 Chevy Bolt EV.
Yep.
And when you calculate savings on oil changes, savings on fuel, it ends up being that the monthly actual cost of ownership, total cost of ownership, including fuel and everything, the Bolt was within $3 or $4 a month. So that's why I'm saying there is no waiting to break even. Now that was only at 12 to 15,000 miles a year. If you're driving 20,000 miles a year, you're making money by owning an EV. You're saving big time.
Okay, let's go into the actual aspect of owning one, and let's take a trip to Fort Worth. Okay, depending on the vehicle, the size of the battery, the amount of charge, that sort of thing, and how heavy-footed you are, can I make it to Fort Worth from Houston on a single charge?
Yes, I've had customers that I worked in Grapevine, Texas when I sold cars, and I had people buy Chevy Bolt EVs from me and make it to Austin, make it to Houston, Katy, and Oklahoma City without stopping to charge. Now, when they got to those destinations, it was definitely time to charge. You know, they were down around 20 miles or less of range.
But at 20 miles or less of range, you get a little anxious about, am I going to get there?
My anxiety would be out the roof. I'd be so nervous. I'd just see me on the side of the road waiting for the electric truck to come and give me a boost so I could get it to some charging station.
Well, you're a newbie. Of course you're going to have range anxiety. What most people don't realize is that when you drive gasoline cars, you still have range anxiety.
Yeah, but
now,
you don't.
It's easily solved by going to a gas station and filling up quickly.
And let's just stop there just for a minute. When you say filling up quickly, yeah, I can fill up a car that, I don't know, 15-gallon tank in 5 minutes and be out of the gas station. With an EV, I've got to stay there at least 30 to get a full charge to go 200 miles.
If you can find a 440 charging station.
Well, we're assuming.
And there are apps to help you find them.
Yes, exactly. But you see how my range anxiety builds up? I'm anxious anyway. And so
yes, he is.
I'm a little amped up, so to speak.
So the other question is, like my iPhone, does the battery life diminish based on the frequency of charge? So the more I charge my iPhone, the shorter the battery life is.
All lithium-ion batteries degrade over time. What we're finding is that the manufacturers have left margins in the battery where it's not noticeable to the end user over the life of the car. If you do 440 charging all the time, that's a little harder on the battery. It's going to shorten it's not the life of the battery, but the effective range of the battery might decrease a little bit over time. But by a little bit, I'm talking about, 8% or less. So, and the other thing is thinking about these cars appropriately. Right now, the charging network makes it difficult to get to some places. I did a study recently. I can get to Houston, no problem. But if I want to go to Estes Park, Colorado, I've got to go up through Kansas and take a left instead of the most direct route because there weren't any DC fast chargers on the route that I normally take through the Panhandle. Well, that's changing. I mean, the rollout of EV charging infrastructure is happening right now. The bias right now is in major cities, but it's happening along the major traffic ways. Tesla has an excellent charging network where you can get from the East Coast to the West Coast, no problems at all. You are going to stop for 30 to 45 minutes at a time, but you're going to have to stop to eat and go to the bathroom sooner or later anyway.
So, Buzz, we're running out of time here, but I want to ask you before we leave, I think that next year is going to be a huge turning point when it comes to the actual vehicles that are available that are becoming EVs. And some of them are all new, designed to be an EV. Some of them are actually going to be offered that were originally gasoline, all EVs. This thing is about to explode. Do you think a lot of people are going to buy these?
Absolutely. If they will actually go test drive one, they will buy it. I had people come in that owned Corvettes that bought an EV from me. I had people drive all the way from Louisiana to buy a pickup truck. They drove away in an EV. Once they experience what it's like to drive the thing, and I'm talking about amazing cornering, amazing acceleration, they'll forget about gas cars. And within the first month or two, that anxiety that you had goes away. They're so much fun to drive that you'll forget about gas cars. In fact, that Mustang, when that Mustang comes out, holy cow, that's going to be a big deal. And when the pickup trucks come out, that's going to blow Texas away.
So what is it that you're really looking forward to in the next 12 months that's coming to market? Give me three.
The Mustang is the big one. I think within the next 12 months, they'll actually start showing up for viewing only around November of this year at major Ford dealerships. The next one's COVID-19 slowed things down a little bit. I was expecting the Rivian pickup truck within the next year, their SUV shortly thereafter. The Tesla Cybertruck that, if you haven't seen the announcement, is going to be built in Austin, Texas.
Yes. Woo! We're all excited about that.
When the pickup trucks come out, when you have a pickup truck with 1,000 horsepower, unbelievable towing capacity, and 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, and the effective equivalent fuel mileage of 80 miles per gallon, gasoline pickup trucks are going by the wayside, except for those people that have to drive very long distances all the time.
You didn't mention the Hummer EV that General Motors has been talking about, and there's been a bit of a buzz. Excuse that's not meant as a pun, but the buzz about that lately, because just this week they were talking about the new Hummer EV may be released this fall.
Yes. Well, no, this fall they're going to do the unveiling. It will start showing up, I believe, about a year from now to a year and 3 months from now. And yeah, that's going to be a game changer. That's 1,000 horsepower. And Chevrolet, I was really disappointed. One of the reasons I went ahead and retired was it looked like Chevy wasn't going to get any more EVs after the new version of the Bolt EUV that's coming out. But Chevy has announced they've got a new pickup based on their Ultium battery technology. And here, you mentioned old gasoline designs being changed for electric vehicles. The next generation coming out, instead of these hard battery packs, are going to have what they call it's like a baggy battery that can be shaped to fit into storage areas where the truck can be built from the ground up as an EV. So think about the bed walls in a pickup truck. Now, instead of being hollow, there'll be batteries in there, but they're just these packs, these flexible packs that get shoved up in there. That's gonna change everything.
As technology advances, so will the EV.
So can we just go ahead and have you come on down and spend an entire weekend with us, and we can just devote it all to a conversation between us and you?
I am absolutely waiting with bait-like breath for that.
Well, listen, we surely appreciate your knowledge. I mean, we could go on, and we may have you back very soon. We really appreciate you, Buzz Smith, the EVangelist.
EVangelist.
Yes, EVangelist. We really appreciate you. And thanks so much for joining us today. Great information, and let's stay in touch.
Sounds good, guys. Y'all have a great show.
You do the same. All right, a review of the BMW X6. The X6. I didn't even know that they had an X6.
Yeah, that's kind of their big coupe SUV-ish thing.
A big coupe SUV-ish thing.
Yep.
Okay, well,
you know, it's a large SUV, but it's not a hatchback SUV. It's a coupe.
It's not a hatchback,
Yeah.
and it's not a fastback.
okay.
But it's a fastback, big sedan
Well,
SUV.
you're going to have the first time in this program to talk right after this important message.
As America gets back on the road, a lot of things have changed, but not the need for drivers to be safe. With that in mind, it's time to review our safe driving checklist. First, you're in your car. Check. You're sober. Check. You're wearing your seatbelt. Check. Your phone is put away. Check. Great. Make sure you follow the speed limit. And remember, law enforcement is enforcing traffic safety laws in our community to save lives. Paid for by NHTSA.
This is kind of the way I feel today is all amped up.
Exactly.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. You always bring an electric vibe to the show.
I bring in an electric vibe.
You make me tingle. Oh, that sounded bad.
Yeah, it did.
I'm glad I'm on this side of two tables from you at this point.
You're socially distanced.
I am. Hey, thanks for joining us for today's In Wheel Time car show. We sure appreciate you joining us. It's an EV show today, and we're going to kind of focus on that. Right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to focus our attention on a car review, and that would be Mr. Mars had a BMW X6. Okay, it's all yours. You can go ahead.
BMW X. Now say it carefully.
X6.
X6 X Drive 40i.
Good Lord. Ridiculous.
Now, what we're talking about here really is it's been around for a while. The X6 has actually been around. It's based on the X5, and this is the third generation of this vehicle. Now, this is what they're calling an SUV coupe. Ran into this once before.
But it's four doors.
But it's four doors. But it's an SUV coupe. So it's
Who dreamed that up?
Couldn't tell you that.
A coupe.
Is two door. I got it. But it's the way the style is. If you look at it from a profile perspective, the way the roof line drops back, it's not really a hatchback, and it's not really a fastback. In fact, somebody else, I don't know, a year or two ago, they called it something similar, a sportback for a definition. Now they're calling it a coupe, but that's basically what it is. It's a very sleek-looking, almost coupe-like vehicle, but it's still an SUV.
All right.
Now, it does say it's capable of holding 5 people. 4 is probably a little more comfortable because when you get into that roof line dropping back towards those D-pillars and stuff.
It's not made for tall people in the
It's
back.
not made for tall people, and you have a tendency to want to lean in a little bit.
So you don't bump your head.
So you don't bump your head. But saying that, I will say that
Why would you want that? Why would you want to spend all of that money and sit in the back seat and bump your head?
Well, how many people do you
you're
know?
spending the money, you're driving.
Yeah, I was going to say,
So,
not that
but-
many people spend that much time in the back seat of their car.
Exactly, particularly this one. But I will say it is a little bit longer wheelbase. It's got a little bit wider track. But again, that lower roof line as it drops back, you got a really nice, big, large grille up front. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit better looking to me than what the regular BMW grille looks like. You got to find all the good stuff, the adaptive LED headlights and fog lights, and power folding side mirrors, power lift gate. Again, there's your lift gate for your SUV. Now, you're also going to, we were rolling on some 20-inch wheels, but there is some 22-inch available because this is a BMW, and it's going to give you a little bit more driving experience as they try and span between a coupe and a SUV.
Interior looks pretty.
You go into the interior, you got this coffee Vernasca leather interior is what we had. Sports seats with heat. Interestingly, though, the infotainment system that they have inside there, the Live Cockpit Pro is the 12.3-inch screen where you're going to find your gauges, but the iDrive 7 is the infotainment system. And the interesting thing I found, when it comes out, like now, it comes with Apple. They haven't got it set up for Android yet. Android's coming, but it's kind of weird that they don't have them both in there at the same time. We had the Harman Kardon surround sound system in it, and it really made lots of nice noise inside there. It was really cool. And it's got 27.5 cubic feet of storage behind the seats, and then you can get, if you fold the seats down, the rear seat folds down, you can get 59.6 total storage in here.
And then
so
you don't have to worry about a backseat
That's
passenger.
right. And so what it's done, it's
lay down.
increased the cargo space a little bit, but you're giving up some my opinion, some passenger comfort space
Engine
for that
looks
style.
pretty.
Now, that engine is a 3.0-liter V6, and it's 335 horsepower, 330 pound-feet of torque. So it's got a little bit of juice. It's backed by an 8-speed automatic transmission.
But that's the workhorse within BMW that with the sequential scroll turbocharger.
Yes. So it'll produce some juice up, and it'll tow 7,200 pounds. It's a little bit bigger, and it'll actually physically do it. So the EPA says you should be looking for about 20 miles per gallon in the city, 26 out on the highway, combined 22. I didn't get quite 22 the week I had it.
Of course not.
No, you never
Because
do.
this is a BMW, and you put it in the sport mode, and you get a little bit more driving experience out of it. 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds is what BMW
Driving
claims.
experience.
How much does this thing cost?
A bunch. If you're looking to compare it to something, you're going to look at an Audi Q8, starts at 68. Maybe an Mercedes-Benz GLE coupe, sport coupe at 72. A base BMW X6 is $64,300. But our base test vehicle was $66,500, and the MSRP as tested with a few option packages on it, bumped up to $77,020.
All right, thank you, sir. The In Wheel Time show streams on Facebook.com/InWheelTime, on YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. We have the events calendar and more next on the In Wheel Time Car Show right after this quick break.
There's no greater pain a parent can suffer than losing a child. And yet, heat stroke deaths in hot cars are on the rise. The temperature inside a vehicle can reach deadly levels in just a few minutes. Leaving windows cracked does not help. These preventable deaths can occur even when the outside temperature is as low as 57 degrees. Never leave your baby or child in a vehicle, even for a short period. And always check the back seat before you get out of the car. Where's baby? Look before you lock. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so we should all stay home to lower the risk for everyone. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, thanks for joining us for today's In Wheel Time Car Show, the most informative and entertaining car talk show on video.
Video.
Video and radio kind of combined. You like
Okay.
it?
Yeah. Is this
I'm
a new,
sure that-
is this a new word by
Well,
Don?
I just kind of made it up. I didn't read it anywhere. So
Well, we're going to add #video.
all right. All right, time now for the events calendar, and Conrad's got that.
Well, tonight, if the weather holds out and it doesn't look good, there's quite a few things going on. This is the on. You're going to keep messing with my microphone.
I'm sorry.
It was fine until you touched it. Now you touch. Stop.
Because it was overdriven, and I was
okay,
trying to
well,
adjust it.
So tonight is an on night for Nifty 50s up off of Grogan's Mill. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to go, but looking at the weather, it might be a little tough. Also tonight at 5 p.m. is the Camp Hope fundraising car show in Santa Fe. The tune-in test out at Houston Motorsports Park. Probability is low that it's going to go on.
No, I don't think there's a race out there tonight. Gina's.
I'm sorry, that's Sunday is tune-in test.
Oh, okay.
At Houston Motorsports Park. Lone Star Diesel's meet is tonight at 6 p.m. in Montgomery. The Car Quest Hot Summer Nights at Houston Motorsports Park tonight at 6 p.m. Going to be the place to be, weather permitting. Go out there and watch some awesome asphalt racing. Tomorrow is SCCA Autocross out at the Houston Police Academy out there by the airport. Great little track. They've got a wonderful relationship out there. Coffee and Cars and Donuts in Navasota tomorrow at 8 a.m. At 2 p.m. is the COVID Community Car Cruise in Pasadena. And then Sunday night it'll be FM 1960 in Eldridge at Freddy's.
All right. Thank you, sir. Hey, I want to remind you that car, truck, Jeep clubs, we'd love to feature your bunch in our Car Club Spotlight. Just shoot us an email, info@inwheeltime.com. Please include your contact information, and we'll get your bunch on our show. In Wheel Time continues after this snappy little break.